1, go!
Good afternoon and good morning to everybody out there on YouTube, all you Schmoedown fans. Welcome to Mount Schmoedown here on the Schmoes of the North channel. We are live. Yes, this is not a pre-recording, everybody, but we are live. I am one of your hosts for this show, Ryan Payne, and next to me is my co-host, Ben Rayner. And below us, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen him more on our previous episodes, but he is back to join us again. John, Mr. Movie Lovers Unite. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, man.
Doing well. I'm excited for this one. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we do have ourselves a big episode lined up for today. If you guys saw our episode last week, this is kind of like our little two-parter, as we are talking about the founders, the pillars, the two permanent faces of the Mount Schmoedown Rushmore. Last week we talked about Baby Carrots Mark Ellis. Today we are talking about the chairman, the commissioner, the X Factor, Kristian Darth Harloff. Man of many names in the Schmoedown. But before we begin, Ben, we do have an announcement to make to everybody. You want to say our announcement?
You can go ahead and do it if you want. Okay.
Sure. Okay, yeah, I'll say the announcement.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, to everybody in the chat or who's ever seen our previous episodes, before on Mount Schmoedown was maybe like a 3 talking head channel with myself, Ben, and our former co-host Brandon Buck. But when we joined the Schmoes of the North, unfortunately, Brandon, he kept getting so many scheduling complications. Life got in the way, and so we had to part ways with him. But if you guys have seen his channel, Schmoe the Money, believe me, that added a whole lot of a whole nother pile onto his plate. And I've watched almost every episode. I mean, I've watched, of course, the Schmoe the Money episodes and what they're doing with the Fast and the Furious channel. I mean, breaking down the Fast and the Furious movies. So if you guys check out that channel, Schmoe the Money, believe me, you're gonna have a good time enjoying those. But that being said, for a while, it was mainly just Ben and myself as we were trying to look for a new co-host, but at the same time, still bring on some guests here, not kind of like as a tryout, but more of just to keep the 3-head structure going, because I'm not saying Ben and I don't enjoy talking to each other, but we always felt it was so natural having more than just the two of us on here, as we were able to get new energy. And from our last episode with John, we enjoyed him so much that not only did we want to ask him, but also Lou of the Schmoes of the North also asked him as well. And he is now going to be joining us as our third talking head moving forward.
Thanks, man. I do appreciate the love and the support that you guys have shown towards me on the show. I do appreciate you guys having me as a permanent co-host and everything. It's great just talking Schmoedown, talking about the past stuff as well as the present. So just being on here with you guys, talking a little schmoes and everything, I'm happy with it. So thank you again.
Yeah, we're definitely glad to have you here. And what better way to really begin another chapter here for us at Mount Schmoedown than by pretty much talking about Kristian Harloff, who Ben and I, along with Buck in the past, wanted to talk about him at the start, but we just felt it wasn't the right time. But now, I mean, since we've had over a couple episodes, talked about so many different Schmoedown personalities and players, felt like it was the right time to talk about Darth Harloff himself. And before on in, how about we just get some general impressions, our general overall feelings, just how we feel about Kristian Harloff. Ben, now that we're finally talking about him, man, what's your 2 cents, man? What do you think about Harloff? Not just as a competitor, but just all around what he's done for the Schmoedown.
We can't say it enough. I love his passion for movies and his passion for wrestling. And you can see that with the Schmoedown. He took his 2 passions and he brings them together into this great game and show that really brings enjoyment and entertainment for all of us. And you couldn't see, and you couldn't tell watching ACM. You couldn't tell watching the Schmoedown how much fun he had
Yeah.
with this stuff. It really brings, it's something special to bring all this together, and he has it. He has that it factor that is just magical.
Yeah,
Most
I
definitely.
do. Oh, go right ahead, John. Go ahead.
Okay. So I remember the very first time that I was introduced to Kristian Harloff and them. I remember watching AMC Movie Talk. And then I remembered all the fans of AMC Movie Talk is like, hey, they need to go ahead and get these guys on for a permanent basis. And at the time, John Campea was not really looking for anybody new or anything like that. But then I found out that they actually have a YouTube channel called Schmoedown. So I'm like, okay, I want to check these guys out because they also have a movie show. Next thing you know, I've watched them for about 3 or 4 months, and all of a sudden they break into the Schmoedown stuff, the old school way, on the couch, in that little small studio, dressing up. You had Mark Riley dressed up as Superman. You have them drawing numbers out of a hat. It was like just friends, basically camping, like a camping trip if you think about it, but in a studio where they're playing a game, a movie trivia game. And you can definitely tell that they were onto something. At first, I'm like, I'm just going to go on ahead and, just to be there for the movie news and then exit out. Then next thing you know I wind up being sucked into it. And I saw where it was transforming from the couch over into the Collider Studios and all the stuff, all the moving parts that Kristian has built. It got to this big old huge thing that we never thought would actually happen. And I loved what he did for the Collider Live thing. I loved what he did as far as too with the Schmoedown. That's something that is fantastic, like Ben said, and everything too. He knows how to actually put these moving parts to use. He knows how to get what he needs done. And only that, but the guy is busy as hell with all the production stuff and things like that. Like we were talking earlier about the stuff of tearing down sets, rebuilding sets, stuff like that. And that's what this guy does. He's just nonstop on Schmoedown and everything too. He makes sure that everybody is comfortable. He makes sure he's a great hostess. He's a great host. He makes sure that everybody's schedule is timely and not running together. I really have to say, Kristian is hands down the most busiest man in the Schmoedown community and everything, but he's also built a beautiful thing for us to watch and to be entertained by. I love the wrestling aspect to it. Kristian is hands down one of my favorite people that I actually look up to as far as inspiration and stuff like that too, because that's also why I actually got into doing YouTube videos and movie reviews. So, with Schmoedown and everything, it's one of my favorite things to watch.
Well said, man. Well said. Honestly, with Kristian, I did come along when they were part of AMC with the AMC movie news. Now he did come along much later on when they were making the transition to Collider, and of course I didn't extend further on looking into into the Schmoes Knows channel, because I think at the time for me I was like in college. I'm like, you know what? I still want to be up to track with movies, so AMC movie news sounded like a great thing to follow. And then when it came Collider, I just kept listening more. Just the passion that was coming out of Kristian, and then seeing Mark Ellis talking about movies, the jokes that they would have back and forth, being introduced to John Schnepp, and then of course the extensive with the Collider Nightmares, Jedi Council. I mean, Jedi Council was 100% a big thing for me as someone as a Star Wars fan, who of course during that time the new trilogy was Star Wars was bought by Disney, and then the rumors of the new movies were coming out. So it was like a great time for not as someone who is finally getting to show his love for movies, but also reigniting my passion for Star Wars. So just watching back and forth between the two of them was great. And then it probably wasn't until their 4th season of the movie trivia Schmoedown I found it. Seeing Kristian, Dan Murrow, Sam Levine, John Roca, The Lion's Den, Rachel Cushing, Clark Wolstein, all of these new people here, and I'm just thinking to myself, there's 3 seasons of this and I did not find it yet. What the hell is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? And of course I could not find the stuff they did for Schmoes Knows, but they had the previous season there, so I watched that like endlessly. And then I just became hooked moving forward. And then I'm like, you know what? Whatever I see Kristian, Mark, whatever project they're doing, I'm going to be invest myself into, which went from simply the Schmoedown to SCN, and now SCN is. I mean, at first it went from being supported by Collider. Then they wanted to do it themselves, which is why I was like one of the hundreds of people immediately signed up for their Patreon, showing their support, wanting to attend their live events, wanting to give everything that I could with the limited resources I had. And then finally, thanks to SCN, I felt confident to reach out to others, maybe want to move forward to doing YouTube. So especially reaching out to you, Ben. I mean, for Christ's sake, it was not for Kristian Harloff, I really would never have found myself in this community and never would have found myself on this platform with the both of you right now talking about him.
It's just great. I mean, everything else, he looked great. And what we haven't brought up yet, I'll say it right now, he's a fantastic promoter. No matter what he's promoting,
yep,
he's fantastic at promoting shit. And I don't know. And let's not forget, while he was doing this in the earlier seasons, he was competing.
Yeah.
He was competing in the singles league, and him and Ellen were a team in Team's league.
Team Schmoedown.
Team Schmoedown, they were pretty damn good in the early years.
Right, you have the comedic person on that team, which is Mark, and then you have like kind of the serious side, which is Kristian and everything too. So you have them two bouncing off of each other and stuff like that when it came down to the competitiveness and everything. And it works out. It comes out even if you actually think about it. You know what I mean? But I definitely, my favorite match, though, as far as solo matches go, was, you know, just Kristian and the back and forth between Dan Murrell and also Kristian, though, too. The back and forth level between them two. Because I remember watching that match. I'm like, Kristian is just as good as Dan Murrell when it comes down to trivia, and them going neck and neck.
Yes.
I was on the edge of my seat the whole entire time, and then sudden death, then everything else. I'm actually, this is just like watching a New Orleans Saints football game in a sense, because they don't come back until like towards the end of the quarter, because they're just those are just those kind of guys where, okay, they're going to lay out everything out in the first half, and then they're going to let the teams catch up with them, and then they're going to try and play catch up. And with this, it just felt like a good back and forth game and everything else. It worked out perfect and everything.
Now, forgive me, I forget, Ryan. In that singles match with him and Dan, the two retirement matches, was that the last time he played a singles official match?
From what I can remember of that match, hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just freeze on you guys.
No,
you guys are good.
Now? Okay.
They're good.
Okay, yeah, I'm just making sure the camera did not freeze up on me. Okay, but I heard everything you said, Ben. I believe that match during that season, I believe season 4, Kristian, who was still competing, of course, I don't remember. I just got in, so I didn't know much about the community at the time. But I think Kristian was always constantly getting these comments or these little accusations thrown at him because he's a commissioner of the league. He knew the answers going into his matches, which led him to win in these victories. But if you really watch his performances in these matches, he knew what he knew, and he did. And whatever he didn't know, he wasn't going to try to pull it out of his ass or do like what Roca or what Ben Bateman did later on in the season, just like sit there and pretend they didn't know it and then know it at the last minute. He's like, oh, if you didn't know it, you clearly saw it in his face, and he would just easily say, no, I didn't write it down. I didn't get it. But in this match, Kristian did set himself up to where if he lost against Dan Murrell, he was done and he was going to retire. And when he won the belt, he was immediately going to set up Dan for a number one contenders match at the Spectacular. But Dan had announced it right after Kristian won, before they did the interviews, that he was retiring. And watching that, Kristian was shocked. Like, this is like one, like everyone. Yeah, because one thing in the past we talked about when it came to Kristian and his plans, everyone likes to refer to the moment when Guy beat Dan Murrell No. To me, it's this moment to where Dan, he kept it to himself, and he decided, doesn't matter what happens. If he lost that championship, he was going out on top. And even in the post interview, Kristian was flustered. He didn't know what he was going to do. It was pretty because Dan retired. He created that singles tournament, actually. So that was like him bouncing back from it. And even alone, that match you're talking about between Dan and Kristian, it was possibly not. I mean, looking at Dan today, everybody wants to see that that's not his best match. That everyone wants to rank this as probably one of his worst matches. I'm like, no, this was a different Dan Murrell. This was Dan when he was just playing off of movie knowledge. He wasn't doing the studying like Roca did. He was not. Right. He was not a mega critic like William Bibbiani was. And if you pull that back up, Leo's comments, that was the best example of one of the things that Kristian's 5-pointer, I believe. Yeah, just name. Oh no, Bib's 5-pointer. That is completely different to Kristian's 5-pointer, to where he just had to name a character compared to Bib's 5-pointer, where he had to name a Bruce Willis movie that is sort of kind of like not inside baseball. So it's kind of one of these questions to where Kristian has to, of course, he sees the comments and everyone's just like, oh my God, your 5-pointer was so easy compared to Bib's. What's wrong with you? This is why there's collusion amongst the commissioner. And just, no, this match and his match against Levine are kind of proof that Kristian does not know all the questions that's going into a match. When he plays, he knows. I mean, to probably do my favorite quote from SCN, when he plays, he doesn't know shit. He just goes in there and plays.
Exactly.
And he has fun. You can tell he has fun playing. And
yeah, he does.
That's what the early years of the Schmoedown were. They were fun. They were fun times between friends. It wasn't until season 5 and 6 when it became much more than just a fun time.
Definitely. And also, too, I remember reading the comments about that, Ryan, whenever you were talking about, oh, this thing is rigged. Of course he would know that because he's the one who has to go ahead and be the announcer. Of course he's going to know that. I'm like, are you guys freaking idiots? Are you guys idiots right now? Because that's what you guys are at. You're acting like toxic people and everything, and why we can't have nice things, But, I feel like at that time, to be honest with you, he was surprised you connected. Hey, French. But you know what, though, man? I felt like at that time, like you said before, he was fucking surprised. If you think about it, he was surprised. Because look at the expression on his face whenever he came in there to win and to retire. And he's like, the facial expressions that he's like, okay, I won. Now I have to go ahead and go through with it, even though he wanted to retire.
The best example was when he beat Bibbiani. The best example was when he beat Bibbiani. You saw when Bibbs into that 5-pointer. He's looking at the camera like, I won? Are you kidding me? And then, of course, when he plays against... Oh, go ahead, guys. We're going to be discussing his matches probably for the next 30 to 40 minutes. Go ahead.
Well, there was one match I wanted to bring up where he was surprised, but he wasn't playing. He was calling this match. It was a Dan Murrell and Andrew Guy match. When Guy won, you saw the look and hold up his face. When you saw that look, you know it wasn't good.
Exactly.
Because he didn't think Guy would win.
No, like Ryan said, he didn't know shit. He didn't know that he was going to win that. He didn't know. He just went in there hoping for the best and see what happens. And also, too, this is not the Dan Murrell that we know now where he's a competitor. He just went up based off of there in movie knowledge.
Yeah, because one thing I know when we get to Dan Murrell, we are going to talk about the different stages he went through in his career to play. And I think Kristian himself also went through different stages. Sure, he still relied on movie knowledge, but that did not mean he was still able to pull questions. He was still able to pull victories in matches. Because we're gonna rewind the clocks. Team Schmoes, him and Mark Ellis, a great combination with each other. When they played during those Schmoes Nose competitions, they really bounced off of each other. Great energy and great knowledge between the two of them. And then you saw the peak of their of their ability in their match against Box Office Breakdown, which to me still has one of the best Kristian Harloff promos I have ever seen. And because of that, I actually do want to share just his little promo that he did before going up against JTE and Finstock.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna find that for a second. But it's still fantastic. Go ahead.
While you're finding that, I'm just gonna go with one of my favorite Schmoes no moments though too. They used to have a thing called Unleash the Trolls. Basically, what they would do is they would do different impressions, mocking people in the comments sections and stuff like that, and making it sound like how they would sound if they were mocking who they were watching. So I thought that was actually pretty funny.
All right, I found the clip, guys. So I'm gonna unmute this for a second and just let me know if you guys can hear the audio. So here we go, guys. Like pretty much one of his best promos.
That's right, Kristian Harloff.
Oh, wait, it's gone. Oh, there it is. Were you guys able to hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's play it again.
Leading out Team Schmo.
I mean,
I believe this is the only.
Look at Kristian. He's in full character at this moment. Full character.
He'll probably wear it to his funeral. Yep. He's got something to say here, John. I'm waiting with bated breath.
Here we go.
Finally, Darth Harloff has come back to the Schmoedown. You wake up in the morning and you ask yourself, "Can I do this?" You wake up in the morning and you ask yourself, "Can I be champion?" You wake up in the morning and then you see Harloff and Ellis and you say, "No, you can't." Because you got JTE, who looks like a busted potato that fell off the back of a truck and kept on rolling down the highway. And then you got Finstock. Let's talk about Finstock. Guy's got so much failure in his mask, he could be a Captain Heigl movie. Guy should be on a farm chasing chickens and pigs. Talk about JTE is the people's champion. JTE says it's all about the people. The people want someone that doesn't say Guillermo del Toro. The people want somebody that doesn't sing La Bamba. The people want to go to Jurassic World and not see a Triceratops Titatus. When you ask what BOP stands for, back off, bitch, because here come the smoke. If you smell what the schmoes are cooking. Look, what an intro. What?
You see that favorite? Yeah, that was when Kristian really brought his love of wrestling and Schmoedown to like really in a perfect marriage that I know he wanted to do for further along, but it was like nobody else understood the wrestling terminology like the wrestling history of the terminology. So I mean, especially I'm pretty sure not many people understood, wait, what the hell's a face and a heel at the time? So it was always wonderful when Kristian, he was able to, like, if he played, he got to do his own thing. I mean, even especially in that season 3 of Collider. Yeah, he does his great rock promo, and then moving forward in his matches, like Mark Ellis, he also did some dress up. He cosplayed too, because his match against Makuga, he dresses up like Dexter. I mean, in one of his matches against, oh my God, I'm trying to remember his, I know he played against Makuga, he played against Roka, and, but I mean, I'm trying to remember, but you guys just go right ahead. I mean,
he also did Caddyshack.
Yes. Yes, I was trying to remember who he played against for the Caddyshack when he dressed as Caddyshack.
Wait, isn't that Clark? Or am I? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know Clark Wolf, man.
No, he didn't. He didn't play against Clark Wolf. That's like one of the matches I really wanted to see. Kristian versus Clark Wolf, honestly. Like, I mean, there were so many dream matches during that time we were robbed of, but I think at that time Kristian was still doing the whole pitting players against players with records. Like that has not changed, and definitely hasn't changed here. He played it. Go ahead.
I'm really going to ask you. He put the everything now and what the wrestling what he did back then but what it now, do you think people would be more open to it because they understand what's happening?
Brian, Leo, thank you guys so much. Yeah, Mark and Els dressed like the guys from Caddyshack against Nerdist movies. Yeah, and I'm just going down his record again. Yeah, he played against Jason Inman and Chris and John Roca during season 3, and then I also see in season that he's played 2 matches against a certain guy who I will not say because I say his name, we're going to bring trolls out of the goddamn gate.
We're not going there. We're not going there.
No, that guy is literally that man is Pinhead. You open that box, you're just bringing in the demons. You're bringing in the Cenobites. So we won't say his name, but Kristian has played this man twice, and going on in like you see, he's played. I wish that during that time, I would have loved to have seen Kristian go up against some of the new blood in season 4, like Rachel, like Mike, like Clark Wolf. I mean, even just seeing him. I mean, sure, he got to play Emma Fight, but that was the Commissioner Bowl, which was the only time he came back. Oh, go ahead.
I forget. He never played 1-on-1 with him and Mike. They never played against each other.
I don't think so. No, because Mike. Yeah. Kristian stopped playing after he lost the championship to Sam, and that was his last singles match. I mean, of course, when it came with exhibition, he played against. When it's exhibition matches, it was only that one singles match against Mark Ellis, which was something. If they reached a certain number of patrons, they were able to do it. But then of course. He also played, but then of course he did the Rocky exhibitions against Tom and John Roca. So it was just kind of like, yes, that's right, Ryan. Yeah, he played that. He played that Cenobite in a teams match. He was partner with Dan Merle. But yes, but you know what? I don't want you talking about that Cenobite. All right, let's just keep. But even then, you're right. His record alone, in his matches, they've always gone to where Kristian. He's favored heavily out of the second round, or he's just very unlucky in the 3rd round. I mean, looking at everything, really going over his record. Other than his loss to Sam Levine, he has never really lost by a TKO. He has won like every match he's played. He has won in knockouts. He's beaten that Cenobite. He beat a Cenobite in a TKO. He beat Makugo TKO, Inman TKO. He KO'd Finstock and Cody Hall during the season 1 of Schmoedown. And if people were wondering if those matches ever counted records, well, guess what? They did. Because in Kristian's match against Bibiani, he came out showing a list of people he knocked out, predicting he was going to knock out Bibiani. He didn't. He came he come close. Because in that match against Bibiani, he was trailing behind because Bibiani was playing a perfect game all the way up until the 3rd round where Bibiani, he misses 3 and his 5-point questions. So that gave Harloff the victory.
Yeah, they gave Harloff the edge to where he could actually answer some questions and then come back on top. And that was actually a hard match. That was a harder match though, too. I mean, to me, Dan Merle ranks up as number 1. This ranks up as number 2 for me. And this is one of those matches where it could have been anyone's game when it came down to like the last couple of questions. It just so happens to be after that 3rd question, I believe Bibiani got frustrated and was in his head after that. And then Kristian was able to go ahead and answer back with his questions and then wind up TKOing him or knocking him out there too. Yeah. So
you watch it. Bibiani really was frustrated because of 3-pointer. It felt a little unfair. And then, of course, with Kristian, they had this back and forth with Kristian. I mean, he didn't really offend him or so, but it was just kind of like, you saw the questions, guys, like, oh, shut your ass. And Mark, being the comedic genius he was, he just bumps to Bibiani and go, will Bibiani shut his ass up for his 3-point question?
I forget. What part of Bibiani's career is this? Was he there with the Horsemen?
Yes, he was. He was with the Horse. This was in the middle of season 4. But this was building up to the collision where Kristian, I think after beating, here I go again, after beating that fucking Cenobite, Kristian challenged Bibiani, and Bibiani accepted. And it was kind of like a situation to where if Bibiani won, he'd get a number 1 contenders match at the collision. But if Kristian won, that was it. But then of course it came to where Kristian was like, okay, he keeps playing, and then of course he plays against Snyder, #1 contenders match. He beats Snyder, and that match with Snyder, Jesus Christ! Everyone want to talk about challenges. Snyder threw out 2 separate challenges in that match. Now the first challenge was valid because if I remember, in that match, I think Snyder was given comic book movies, and Snyder's Leo, you're right. Yeah, the whole flute incident. But actually, my bring up was gonna be his comment on the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 question, where the question was, Ego uses what song from Peter's Walkman to describe who they are, like their relationship. And the question was worded incorrectly because in the movie, the answer was Brandy, but actually Ego uses that song to represent his relationship with Peter's mother. And it's never been that. So it was a situation where it was unworded. It was worded improperly. Even Mark Andreyko in the interviews, he even talked about how unfairly worded that question was. Now, of course, following up Snyder's 3-point question, I believe he challenged was the flute incident, to where the woodworking instrument that was used. I forgot the movie, but the answer pretty much was a flute, and the question threw off Snyder because, wait, you mean a wind instrument? Because the flute was kind of like a woodworking instrument, So it just came down to semantics when Snyder challenged that question. But even then, looking back at it, yes, the challenges were very frustrating, but it wasn't kind of like someone just threw out a challenge just for the sake of a challenge. Snyder had some legit reasons to challenge these questions. And even then, when Snyder had challenged that, when Snyder challenged the Guardians of the Galaxy question, even Kristian was impressed. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is, honestly, I do love the Guardians of the Galaxy's movies, honestly, Brandy. They are great. I even like the second one. Yeah, oh my God. But just seeing that, I mean, actually, I know when we get to Snyder, all about that stuff, but it's this one little tidbit teaser we talk about Snyder. Snyder kind of showed in that match why it's so good to have a manager in your corner, because even Kristian said, maybe I should have had a manager coming out with me. But even then, Kristian still was able to get the victory against Snyder and go on to face Dan Murray. Oh, you like you were going to say something, Ben.
Well, other than Jimmy, at that time, Snyder was with Tom?
Yeah. He was with Tom.
Lions Den. Yeah, it was the
Lions
Den.
Den.
He was still the team's champion. The team's champion. I mean, this was building up the collision, so I'm pretty sure that the Patriots had at least 3 defenses, because afterwards, because they had beaten, I believe they had beaten Rules of Steel, and then at the collision, it was that #1 contenders match between with Rotten Tomatoes and the Nerds Watch, and then later they renamed the Modoc. So Snyder was still team's champion during that time.
Yeah, real quick, I'm sorry to derail us for a second.
No, Ben, come on. We've derailed so many times in our episodes. You are good.
I still got this in a match between the Patriots and the Wolves. And I can't be the only one who's doing that. That has to happen at some point, right? Maybe I had mentioned that.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Yeah, it was they beat for the second time. That match came afterwards. Thank you. But Brian, you also have a great comment. Harloff, I am shocked we never did see Harloff show up at a free for all.
Well, I'm not.
I'm not as a host, but actually play in one.
I'm not denying that. He has so much going.
I remember
he has
rewatching.
Right.
He's always
You keep freezing and breaking up. You want to leave and come back?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
You were freezing a little bit.
Can you hear me now? Okay, because my computer it stopped as well. But can you hear me?
I can hear you now. And
how about?
Yeah. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, you're good now.
All right. I am sorry, guys. Look, I'm
okay.
I'm gonna change some of the next year so it doesn't become much more of an issue. But I did hear, yeah, Harloff playing is a very, very rare, it's something we've never really gonna see. Maybe, I guess, because the fact that he was gonna be hosting the match and that he had the access to the master document, it didn't feel right for him to play. But although it was funny in the first free-for-all, Kim Nassau got to make a surprise appearance as a player, though, which was funny as hell. I mean, sure, he didn't stay for the first, he didn't stay throughout one, but it was still hilarious to see him just. You hear his music, and then Kristian just announce him, and then Ken just he just goes like this. He literally leaps off the desk to play.
Yeah,
I love that though. I still remember that. I miss Kristian actually playing though. I know that he has his hands full with doing the behind the scenes stuff and putting things together, and he likes doing the desk work. But it'd be cool just to have like a Patreon,
Yes.
like maybe an expedition type of thing, just for shits and giggles kind of situation where we can see him play at least one time. Maybe a certain goal on SEN Live might actually help it. But I would like to actually see him just
they did
play
that
just for fun.
I'm pretty sure he would. I mean, he did do that earlier on when they were starting with Patreon. Like if they got to 250 patrons, no, 2,500 patrons, he and Ellis would play in a 5-round exhibition match. They got to that. We saw them two play each other for the first time, which was pretty much one of the more heartwarming matches because these two guys, they just didn't care about the competition. They were just there to play, and I loved it. And then we even saw the Schmoes going up against the Patriots for a special exhibition match.
Well, don't forget, we also got one more. He played against, and then he played against Tom in the Rocky exhibition match.
Yeah.
Yep.
He played two Rocky exhibition matches, yeah.
One against Tom and one against Walker, I believe.
He lost against Roca.
Yeah, he 1-1. 1-1.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of fun, though, just seeing how I loved it because it was just like a bounce back after that Tom had beaten JTE in a Rocky match. And I think because Kristian had just gotten so fired up, he just went to Tom and was like, no, look, I'm going to play you for the Rocky Championship. We're going to set that up. And then I loved it. He comes out, and he just has, like, his daughter with him. And it was just kind of like, yeah, we're going to play each other for our love of the Rocky movies. And it was fantastic. And I actually do enjoy it. That's the kind of Harloff I love seeing, where he's coming in because he's passionate to play.
He's also more relaxed in the pocket, though, too. He doesn't feel like he has to do a big, huge production type of deal where he can just hang back a little bit, relax, and do some Rocky trivia and just have a good time with it, versus having to put all these other things together. I saw him where he was actually wore out from doing the Schmoes Know stuff at first, and then him getting worn out between doing his regular shows plus doing Schmoedown. So he was even saying, he even owns up to the fact that he's like, look, I got to find a balance between what I have to do. I want to do Schmoedown, but I also want to go on ahead and host, but I got to find a balance between the two. And you can definitely tell it was taking a toll on him to the point where he's like, I got to hang back a little bit.
There are plenty of examples to where you see the wear and tear on him. And personally, I don't think it should be on us to try to take Kristian to the doghouse for it. You see, if you're seeing someone like Kristian who's busting his ass nearly almost every day of his life, not just as a working professional, he's also a father. He's got 2 children. I mean, he has a wife. You know, he's got his own personal issues to deal with outside of trying to put all this together. It's one of the reasons why, especially at the time when season 6 was happening, he was starting the whole thing with the live shows. I mean, for God's sakes. I mean, the fact that he had to reach out. I mean, that's why I'm so proud of the support he has, not just from Ellis, but so many people from behind the scenes where he had like Cody all helping out, RB3 helping, Kristian Rubacabla, Alex Marzonia. Oh my God, I'm forgetting her name, but she was like one of the go-to contacts during the live shows. Wow, I'm forgetting her. It's most likely because she's not around a lot. I don't see her on screen like during the studio matches, but she is mentioned a lot when it ever came with the live shows. I remember. I can see her face. I just can't remember. Maybe someone in the chat will bring it up. I know Let's Get Ready to Schmoedown did an interview with her, so I know she's definitely someone who is very instrumental when it came with the movie Trivia Schmoedown. But and also with Thad Williams too. Thad was also someone helping behind the scenes. I mean, knowing the fact that Kristian had such a well-oiled machine helping him out, really helping taking some of the pressure off was incredible. So knowing that Kristian wasn't just he wasn't just alone. He had backup. It's one of the reasons why we'll never say never, but it's just more of me personally. I'm never going to go message Kristian on Twitter to complain to him about a production quality of a match or why when he plays he looks so burned out, exhausted.
No,
so personally for me, and I said this earlier before we even got on, and I didn't want to bring it up forcefully, but I'm just going to do it anyway. His match against Sam at the Spectacular 2, we all saw exactly how exhausted he was. Looking in from the start, he was on the desk. Leo, thank you so much. Megan Sanborn. Yes, Megan. Yes. She was definitely somebody who helped out when it came with the live show formats. Just like with Kristian, she was there like in the door. And she was one of the first people in, one of the last to leave. Thank you so much, Leo. But like I'm saying with the Spectacular, the fact that if you saw that 30-minute preview, how many people were inside that studio while Jen was going around doing interviews with so many others, making sure everyone was fed, putting like what we were talking about earlier, building the set for Spectacular 2, making sure everything was running smoothly on the camera, on the audio, with the lighting, making sure that the audience was had no space, the conditionings of the whole set, and then wanting to host, and then making sure that having to be on eye for challenges, making sure that everyone was well rested, all that before he got to do his own personal match. Personally, to me, if someone wants to criticize the fact that Kristian played terribly, I just say, hey, why don't you rewatch the entire Spectacular and then tell me how that reflects on Kristian's performance as a player? Because you saw he was burned out.
exactly.
And that's why, personally, for me, I would love to put down I would love to post on the Facebook group, make a petition or make a goal for Kristian and Sam to have a rematch, a special Patreon exhibition match. Those two playing against each other just for the hell of it. And I mean, maybe I won't get much ground on that, but it's something I still would want to see. Like Kristian, because we got that with Mark Ellis and Roca for the Smash-a-thon. I'm saying we can probably do that too. Maybe hell, if I see Kristian on the desk on SCN, I'll send in a Schmoebot and say, hey, Kristian, how much would it take for us? What's the goal for us to reach? And then that for the reward for that goal is to see you as a rubber match between you and Sam Levine.
I would love that, to be honest with you, because I think it'll be a whole lot more refreshed versus the first time he played up against Sam. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be a new level of Harloff that we haven't seen before compared to when he was first going up against him. And also, too, it's been a while since he played in a match. That passion and that drive is there. And seeing him not being exhausted and overexhaust himself like before, he's going to have that drive where he's going to go even further with Sam than he did the last time.
Yeah. But looking at Kristian as a player, I mean, we see his strengths. Like, he's great with Sylvester Stallone, Arnie and Sly. I mean, he had a secret strength in scores and soundtracks. Honestly, if we can see. Mm-hmm. Also, the fact that he is a father, he definitely had himself a hidden strength in animated movies. I mean, sure, it was touch and go, but if there was animated films, Ellis was not hesitant to remind us that he is a father. So trust me when I tell you, he is not shy because if he ever gets the animated movie slice. But then, of course, we see with action. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just don't bring up the blue fairy. That's it.
That's it. But I mean, Kristian, he really was, like, to me, like, if we wanted to take players of from seasons 1 to 4, Kristian definitely was, I'd say, one of the top tier players. I mean, most likely looking at his accuracy, his minimum outside of his championship defense match, he mainly always got like a minimum of 4 to 5 questions out of the first round. And then most of the time he would either sweep the second round or he would either come out with maybe 5 to 7 points in a match. And then, of course, round 3, he really was like I don't think he ever missed a 2-pointer or a 1-pointer in round 3. But when it came with the 5-pointers, I mean, of course, the fact that he had knockouts, meaning that he was never pushed to his 1 or 2-pointer. But whenever he did play, he never missed a 2-pointer. And of course, when it came with his 5-pointers, of course, he had Bibiani and I think he never got his 5-pointer against Snyder, I believe. Because Snyder had missed. So Kristian never got a chance to ask it. But even then, I still think Kristian was a very top-tier opponent to play against.
He was definitely very challenging, I can tell you that. I mean, he's like a machine when it came down to movie trivia, to be honest with you, especially when the Arnie and Slice, when we had the wheel round and everything. When he would actually come on there and everything and do the Arnie and Slice and everything, you can definitely tell there's a light in his eyes knowing that he's got that match. He's got that match won, pretty much. And it's very rare that he winds up losing on an Arnie and Slice. He might lose on Horror, but never on Arnie and Sly.
Let me ask you.
Star Wars. Let's not forget.
Right.
Let's not forget Star Wars, gentlemen. When Star Wars was a slice in season 3 and 4, you'd pray to God you don't get that. He doesn't get that slice. But I apologize. You go right ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm really going to say, from season 3 or 4, is there a player that you would have loved to see Harloff go up against that we didn't get to see?
Like during the season 3 and 4 era?
Yeah.
Let me see. I mean, maybe I really would have loved to have seen him against Dan Murrell during that. I mean, he did play for the championship, but Dan Murrell before he got the title. Or heck, him versus Riley. I would have loved to have seen Kristian versus Riley.
Yeah, that would have been awesome to see, to be honest with you. I would love to see Riley and him face off during that time period, because that's also where Riley was actually kicking off with the Shy Wolves and things like that. And he was just going into his own, whenever in his own groove and everything with the Shy Wolves, and also too with his solo stuff.
Wolves of Steel. It was Wolves of Steel.
Yeah, Wolves of Steel. Yeah. Wolves of Steel.
Yeah.
And my friend, well, I know this is not a Mark Riley moment, but I could or anything like that. But you know, Riley's actually very good when it comes down to trivia and everything too. And I would love to actually see them go up against each other, though, too, even because we haven't seen it. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see Sam and him have a rematch, but I would like to actually see an exhibition match between Riley and also Harloff as well, because I've seen it before once when they were first starting out on the couch, where all of them were going up against each other. But I haven't seen them recently, and I would love to see the difference between the rules and regulations that they had from the very beginning and how they transition into now, and seeing how they go head to head with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely would love to see that, actually. I'm sorry, Ben. You go right ahead.
No, I really go ahead. I agree. I would love to see that too. For me, I would love to see him against Riley. I also would love to see, you called it, Riley and Murrell, the two dogs against him. The two bets at that time against Hollow. That would have been fun.
Yeah, it kind of would. I mean, of course, when we saw Riley versus Murrell in season 3, it was just kind of like two different men at the time. Especially now, Dan Murrell's on a different level. Riley, some people would say that Riley had not changed his style, but to be honest, Riley is always evolving. He's always changing. I mean, look at that team's run he did with Ben with Who's the Boss. And then look at what he did in season 7 in that singles tournament. Riley has the potential to be a great competitor. It's always just more of the luck of the questions. And just like I would say, even with Kristian Harloff, Riley is also as busy as well. So I'm not going to put anything against them. But I actually, you know what? Season 3 and 4? The fact that it was so early on, I would have loved to have seen Kristian go up against Clark Wolf, honestly. Clark was really a rising star in season 3. It's the fact that her and Kristian just going one-on-one with each other would have been great. Even though at the time Kristian was doing a tournament, so that would not have been possible. But even then, just to see Clark Wolf and Christian go one-on-one with each other. Maybe I almost felt like during season 7, before the pandemic hit, when Clark was made the commissioner, I almost felt that maybe Christian had this idea of a storyline to where those two would fight each other, play each other in a match. Because Christian did play in because Christian did have that storyline in season 6 to when he couldn't be the commissioner anymore, and not anymore. No, it was season 5. Sorry, during season 5. Yeah, it was
Anarchy.
Yeah, during Anarchy, when he had that storyline with Thad in order to get the commissioner back, and then of course Christian's like, you know what, I want to play you for it, and then bring in Dagnino and bring in Emma Fyfe, the Commissioner Bowl, which I thought was great. I mean, even then that was one match to where Christian didn't play his best, but it was just more of I'm just playing the hell out of it. Because look, at the end result of the match, it did not matter if Christian won or lost because of that little storyline reveal that he had. That's one thing in season 5 that he actually planned out. We saw in season 4 because I remember when Mike was doing this whole corruption thing, like being the manipulator behind the strings of Thad, then we get that nice little person that he's talking to, Paulie. We're like, who the hell is this guy? And then we see back in season 4 after Spectacular, this dude shows up randomly, and then wait, is Christian playing the long game here when it came to storytelling? And then we see the long game play out. This dude's a lawyer. And guess what? He's the one who's been counseling Mike. And then guess what happens? We get the Commissioner Bowl. Emma wins, but then guess what? Who shows up? This Paulie guy. And of course, that reveals to where he's like, I want you, the man who helped put this whole thing together. Surprise! It's Christian.
Okay, let me ask you. I'm not saying anybody is. Right now, we have the Schmoedown. We have Grace being the new president.
Yes.
We have other things going on. I don't want to spoil.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil this past Friday. Yeah, we don't want to spoil this past Friday match. No one got to see it yet.
Could we be heading into a long con with all this stuff going on? And then Harloff actually have a plan.
I've been speculating something with my friend Charlie, one of my co-hosts, about what I think that's going to happen is, what happens if Grace and Harloff have to face off against each other by the end of the season, where Harloff has to fight for his position back, then fight for the management stuff again.
I do feel that's kind of where it's stepping up to be, because from that little cutscene that he had with Robert Kirkman and I'm forgetting the other man the people who were in charge of the owner of Skybound, and when Grace shows up, they had that nice exchange to where Christian tells Grace, you know how this is going to end, right? It's almost detailing that Christian is setting up something big to where at their Spectacular, he and Grace are finally, they're going to butt heads, they're going to collide. And I do kind of feel that the Schmoedown might reveal that, because Christian, as a wrestling fan, because this whole thing as the commissioner, in his 2 matches against Bibbs and Snyder, he came out with the theme of Vince McMahon, who people who are not familiar with wrestling, he is the chairman and CEO of the WWE. And it was just kind of like one of those things where Christian, he drew those parallels between him and Vince McMahon. I would not be shocked if he did something like that again, to where after Christian wins, they do this nice little cut scene to where Grace is on, if they ever get back in studio, this thing where the Schmoedown shows up, and then they bring out their higher power, and then all of a sudden the lights reveal, and then they take off the mask. He does this whole, it was me, Schmoedown! It was me all along! It will not surprise me if Christian did that. The reveal won't be shocking, but hopefully the journey will be worth it. It'll still be something to be worth it.
Oh, well, okay. Hang on that. Yeah, I wouldn't say who. Again, no one is spoil anything. Ryan, has Grace ever competed before?
No, she hasn't. She's always been backstage personality. She's been an interviewer, and now she's a president of the Schmoedown and a manager as well.
I'm thinking we didn't got to play. It will be a Game of Thrones type of thing. Will we get a champion?
Trial by combat. The trial by combat.
Trial by combat. We did got Graces. I wonder who's going to be Harloff. Maybe it'll be himself.
Maybe elect somebody else to take.
Maybe someone else.
That's another
It would
thing.
be. I am intrigued, honestly, if it does get down to that scenario, to where Christian's like, you know what? How about this at the Spectacular 6? We're gonna play each other. Winner gets control of Schmoedown. You pick your champion. I'll pick mine. And I would love that, honestly, man. That sounds like a fun idea.
I have it.
It's like jousting.
I have it.
Yeah.
Sam Levine.
Interesting.
That's actually an interesting choice.
It would, because their history they have together. The fact that Sam did beat Harloff, it would make sense that Harloff would want to pick Sam.
And there's always talk about what will bring Sam back to the league. Now, I'm not going to say he will be, it's only going to be a one-time thing. But Sam against that person.
Honestly, that would be perfect.
Yeah, I can see it.
I'm not, again, we don't want to spoil yesterday's clip, but I got to see this. I got to see it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know we're talking about so much stuff, but there is a few things about Kristian I did want to bring up, because look, Kristian, he's had himself a longevity career, and it has not been without a few slip-ups from his matches or from his time at the desk. And oddly, those who are going to be watching the replay, they're going to be wondering why we didn't bring this up. And if people have seen some of my posts and messages, I said it's not allowed. But you know what? We're going to allow it. The fucking Blue Fairy, guys. The Blue Fairy. The one thing that he was, just like the Blue Fairy was his, in a way, the Blue Fairy was to Kristian, was Bespin was to Roca.
Yep.
The one thing that he kept being dogged about. And legitimately, I mean, and now, of course, that was during the Schmoedown era, where you saw his match against Josh McCouga. The question was, who is the Blue Fairy? What is the name? What is the name of the magical creature that? What's the name of the creature? No, it was for Pinocchio.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the fairies in Sleeping Beauty, they all have names. It's Mary, it's Fauna, Flora, and Merryweather. And then the Blue Fairy and the fairy godmother in Cinderella, that's her name. So pretty much the Blue Fairy is only relegated to Pinocchio only. So, and it was that point. It was actually, and it's another example to where you see Kristian was going in playing for the fun of it, and then after that question, he is just visibly pissed off throughout the entire match, because you can see, he's got those shades on, and you can see Josh. He was trying to relax everything, but Kristian was just so damn mad. I mean, sure, it got down to where Kristian was ahead still, but then came to that betting round where they got mob movies and that Matthew Broderick that question with the answer is Matthew Broderick, to where it was the beginning of two things: Kristian getting dogged for Blue Fairy and Josh McCouga becoming the guessing master.
Yep.
Like even during the time of the Schmoes Nosebin Collider 3, the constant memes of the Blue Fairy showing up in every Kristian match. It was just kind of like he could not outrun it. It was, I mean, sure, Bespin was more stronger because it was Roca who said he was a Star Wars fan and missed that. But compared to Kristian, where it was just an animated movie, and he's not the biggest animated guy.
Right.
No,
and I know he's...
Let me ask you now. Everything against each other now. Harloff versus McCouga. Would the outcome still be the same? Or would
I personally think it might be an even match, honestly, because from what we saw with McCouga and Dewberry's match, I think it would be the similar. And also comparing Roca and Harloff from the Rocky exhibition match, I think McCouga and Harloff would be on even ground.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what about you guys? How would you think that played out?
I would definitely see it's on even key, to be honest with you. I can definitely see it being even.
I would agree. I would definitely agree.
All right. But these are like this. But these are great ideas you're bringing up, because one thing I did used to love doing was always ponder these what if scenarios, and of course the biggest what if that we did. I mean, we slightly did brush it off, was Kristian had already planned this out. Like what if Kristian didn't beat Dan Murrell? Kristian would have been retired, and then Dan would have had to defend his belt at Spectacular too. Another situation for me is what if the Schmoes had not lost to Top 10 TKO at the Spectacular? Not Spectacular, but if the Schmoes had not lost to Top 10, they would have gone up against the Patriots for the championship. I would have loved to have seen that. I mean, sure, we got an exhibition of Patriots versus Schmoes, but even then, it was still kind of like in the scenario. Actually, that's kind of a what-if bubble that had been checked. But even then, I still would have loved to have seen give us a what-if 5-round style match for the championship between Schmoes and the Patriots. Or rubber matches. We want to talk about rubber matches. I mean, Kristian and Josh McCouga. I would have loved to have seen a rubber match between him and Jeff Snyder. I did propose the rubber match between him and Sam Levine, but how about a rubber match between him and John Roca? Because Kristian, because one thing about his matches, Kristian likes to redeem himself and get vengeance on his losses.
I have it. 3-way. I love a match. Harloff, Roca, Sam Levine. Iron Man match.
What would the subject be? An Iron Man match? Just regular movie trivia?
Yeah, regular movie trivia.
Oh my God.
I would love to see it, to be honest with you. But how about an Iron Man match with Grace? I know we're doing what ifs, but
yeah.
What if we wind up having him fight back for his position though in an Iron Man match?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, to me, we would need a specific. I think we would need a specific movie or franchise for that, because
I don't know. Not for that. Because, I don't see that being working really well, personally. That's just me.
Okay.
Okay, that would be kind of fun. I mean, of course, I would love to see Kristian. Actually, you know what? I think I have one good what-if proposal. I know Kristian, now that he's up with SC, he was part of Jedi Council, and now with SC and he's doing Sith Council, I would love to see Kristian do a Star Wars match against Kim Knapsack.
Yeah, okay.
Now, of course, Kristian might think it would be a little one-sided because, Kenny literally wrote the book. He wrote a book on Star Wars. But I still would love to see it. Him versus Knapsack, Star Wars match.
I have it. Harloff, Knapsack, Campia. Star Wars.
I'd like to see that, but Campia also said at one time, too, that he has no interest in doing trivia. But still.
Then what if?
Right. What if?
But just for fun.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think it ever happened, but I want to see those three go.
To be honest with you, Ben, that's actually a good idea to put Campia in that part and as well, to be honest with you, for a what if scenario and everything, because Campia knows his stuff. There's this thing where I remember was a joke about Ken writing a book on Star Wars and him being tested on Star Wars trivia and everything too. I remember that joke so well. But it's perfect though, right? It's actually the perfect storm if you're actually going to put together an Iron Man match with a Star Wars type of setting and everything in a what if scenario. So yeah, I would definitely go with Campia. I would definitely go with Harloff, and of course I would go with Knapsack too.
Yeah.
McKenna.
And have Elliot. Have Freddie Prinze and Sam Whitmer on the table, calling it.
Oh, that's definitely something that definitely could be a proposition, especially with digital for exhibition matches, like as a what if. But It still is. But it's still fun to think about this. It's still fun to think about this.
It won't happen. It won't happen. Sam said he's done. And I don't think Freddie Prinze Jr. has any.
Well, you said on the desk. You did say on the desk, so Sam doesn't have to play. But even then, yeah, he could still wash his hands.
I think he's done.
Okay. But going on in, actually, since we've been doing all these what ifs, I do want to talk about now. One thing we did bring up last week, Ben, when it came with along with Jay Wade, when we talked about Ellis, like seeing if we brought Ellis from his prime during the season 3 and brought him to now, how would he be? I kind of want to bring up that notion with Harloff too. We take Harloff during his revenge tour in seasons 3 and 4, and I mean no, he's not doing he's not doing Night Wed Spectacular where he was shooting 4 to 6 hours worth of footage to put together, and then not counting the extra 2 and maybe 3 or 4 minutes for accommodating for guests, studio set time, and shows. I mean, we just do Harloff. Take Harloff from season 3 and 4. We place him into maybe, let's say, season 7. Where would you guys see he ranks amongst some of the players? Maybe not season 6, because season 7 that was completely different. Season 6, when they were still in studio, where would he rank? Exactly.
Let me ask you. Wouldn't he be extending?
I think. Oh no! Go in your thoughts. Sorry, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead.
Oh, wouldn't he be extending like a Ben Bateman, like a Dan Willow, like a John Walker? Or would he be like a Snyder based knowledge only?
I think he'd be kind of like Snyder and Seibold, honestly, to where they have that movie knowledge, but they don't do too much on the studying purposes.
Okay, if that's the case, I would put him like Romanes. I would put him like a Prince player. I just don't see him on that top tier with no studying.
How about say like this, like within like the top 20 ranked players, where would Kristian actually be fitting there? Like, to me, I think he would kind of be not just like he would not just be like Snyder and Seibold. I think he would kind of be on par with Mike Kalinowski, honestly, because Kalinowski, even though he is a great player in Intergeekdom, we do see teams in singles. He does also flub a little bit in certain areas, but he's always been so lucky. He has always been so fortunate in his matches to still be a top player. So that's where I think he would be. I think he would be on Mike Kalinowski's level when it comes like he would be on par with him with seasons if we put him in season 6 or 7.
Oh, okay. Then I would put him between 5 and 10.
5 and 10?
Yeah, okay. Outside that top tier, but right there, right in the 1 for 10, but yeah, 5 for 10.
Okay. I would actually put him right there.
John, where would you think you'd see Kristian?
To be honest with you, I have to go with your choice, Ryan, because of Kanaski and stuff like that too, because he's like the KO champion if you actually think about it. When you look at knockouts and look at what Kristian went and paved the way for and everything, I believe that he would be the one. I believe he would be in the top 5. To be honest with you, I think he would be in the top 5 tier. To be honest with you, when you look at it from that perspective,
I mean, you're right. I mean, Roka can do one thing when it comes down to it. He knows how to make a comeback. I mean, like we saw with season 6 last year, he got the championship back, and then also we saw with him and Dan, he was able to put himself. How he went to the grind. How he and Dan got the team's championships.
Okay.
All right.
That makes sense.
You were gonna add something, Ben.
No, man. Work at studies every day, every week. If he had big matches coming up, I don't think how long has that time to do that.
Yeah.
But he did have a lot of base knowledge.
Well.
So I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to stand by my 5%. A very, very good player says right outside of that top tier notch for me.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I think I do want to adjust my statement. I do want to kind of put him in with Roca because Roca, Roca is definitely Roca is, I would say, much higher than Kristian. Because Roca, he'll have a bad game, but then he'll always come back and pull something off. Like we saw with season 5, how he got the championship. Season 6, he and Dan became champions. Even in season 7, sure, he didn't play his best, but he always did his good job. He always did his damnedest as a teams player. And then as we saw from his match against Liz Shannon Miller season, how he was able to really pull out a great game. I think if Kristian was able to have himself a group out there or a fan base that was willing to help feed him questions or put together mock matches for him, I think Kristian would be in fighting shape to where if I saw him go up against, let's say, Brendan Meyer, that would be an interesting pair. Or I'd see him go up against maybe some of the rookies this season, like Rick Radis, or have him going up against Ty Lieberman, or maybe against right now I'm thinking about a lot of Finstock Exchange players. Maybe seeing him going up against Bibiani again or Paul Uyama. I mean, I'm pretty sure Kristian would be a great dream match for so many of these rookies and some people who came in in season 7 and 6.
Okay, let me ask you this. He's in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
What faction do you see him working with on that?
Oh, wow. If he was not, I mean, if he was coming as a player and like what he did with season 4, he stepped down as commissioner. If he came in and stepped down as like chairman and he was just a player.
Yeah.
Honestly, with Kristian's personality, I think the only person I could see him pop, I think the only few managers, well, the managers I definitely could see him working with, most because of relationships with them, would be Sam, Roxy, and Winston. Also, wait. I'm going to also throw in, maybe it would be interesting to see him work with Shannon because after that promo I just shared, I think Kristian would love to work with somebody who can just bring out the best character in him.
I got it. Could she?
I mean, Kate! Oh my God, there's Kate too. I'm sorry. Yes.
Gucci and Kate.
Oh my God. Actually, it'd be very interesting. People, if those rewatching, please leave in the comments who you actually think like dream match opponents for Kristian. What faction you would see Kristian in? I mean, hell, if there was ever an opportunity to see an exhibition match, what exhibition match? I mean, what one-off matches you would love to see Kristian in? John, I'm sorry, what some of your thoughts? Who would you think, faction-wise, who would you think Kristian would be a poet if he was ever drafted?
I was thinking the same lines of you, though, to be honest with you. When you look at relationships, Roxy would be the number one he would go to. Yeah. Then, of course, you have to go on ahead and hit Sam up, though, too. So he would be the second. Third, I'm going to go outside the realm a little bit and stuff like that, though, too. And everything. I'm not going to go on as a Gucci because Gucci and him don't really jive up that well as far as personality levels and stuff like that, as far as coaching styles go. You know what I mean? But if I had to choose, I would have to go with Koi to do a little bit different. I think Koi and him would actually match up pretty well because he's part of the inner geekdom kind of thing. And Kristian's also good with inner geekdom a little bit. But to give him a little bit more of an edge in like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or something like that to actually coach him through it, I think that Koi would actually be a good choice to have on his side.
And not mentioning the energy that's in that's in the quirky Mercs. I mean, the fact he's there with Bibiani, the fact that Bibbs. I mean, Kristian has said him and Bibbs have like always had different opinions. So, and then also having Brendan Meyer there. I mean, also him getting to talk more with Kevin Smith every now and then with some of the new guys in there, like with Greg and with John Humphrey. I mean, with some of the energy that the quirky Mercs had in there, I think would really reinvigorate and revitalize Kristian.
Right.
All right, but I think at this point, guys, we should round up here. Let's give our final thoughts on Kristian Harloff. I'll start off first, so then you guys can have more time to give your final thoughts here. But I'm just going to sum up for me. Kristian, he is an excellent Schmoedown player, amazing personality, hardworking without a shadow of a doubt. An excellent promoter too, because let's be honest, I would never have given Stereo the time of day if Kristian had not gotten the opportunity to be on there. And I mean, and then also, I'd say to quote a Kevin Smith movie, he may not show it, but Kristian, when it comes with this community, he has endless fucking patience with us. Endless patience. Sure, every now and then he'll do like a joke or a little tirade, but it's just really quickly and then it's done. But he's got endless patience with all of us. Maybe the fact that I'm not gonna bring his family into this. Or maybe it's the fact he's had to deal with community like this ever since the era of the Schmoes. No, but yes, Kristian Harloff, an amazing person, and I do want to say, Kristian, if you ever, and I mean ever, come back just for one more season to play, I don't care what live show it's going to be at. I will buy a ticket, rent out a fucking Airbnb, fly out there, and be there to watch you play. Because without you, we would not have this community. We would not have the Schmoedown. I would never have found myself to meet so many good people here. So thank you so much, Kristian. Thank you so much.
I'm just going to echo everything you said and say I'm grateful for this community he gave us. He's an incredible personality. He was a great player. I would love him to come back. And it's so awesome that he made all this and brought all of us together. So grateful to him. He is one of a kind. Thank you, Kristian Harloff. Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you, Kristian, for giving me the ability to make a podcast of my own, to be able to go on Stereo, and also to thank you for everything that you've given us as a community as a whole. Because without you, there would not be no Schmoedown. You are the light into the Schmoedown. You are the inspiration that gives everybody hope into what they want to do with their careers. And also, too, I wouldn't have been able to meet Frenchie. I would not have meant Ben or Ryan for that matter either. And, you know, I appreciate the community. I appreciate Ryan. I appreciate Ben and Frenchie for everything that they've done with this community as well as for, and also growing within this community as far as the fans go, because without you and everything, we wouldn't have anything. And we are the Schmoedown. We are the community. We are the fans and everything. We're here to back you, no matter how hard the costs are, no matter how much stuff that you actually go through from day-to-day basis and everything. We're going to be supporting you from behind the lines, whether we can afford a ticket or not. We're still going to go on ahead. We're going to fully on support you at 110%. And we're going to show how much we care about you by supporting the Schmoebots, by watching SEN Live, by doing the things that we do here on this channel as well. And also, too, on my end as well, too. But yeah, that's everything I want to say. Thank you so much, Kristian. I do appreciate you.
Well said, guys. Well said. Now that we're definitely wrapping up, first off, we've already started closing thoughts. We are done here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the three of us as we talk about Kristian Harloff. And if you watch and some of you are still in the live chat right now, please give a like to this video, comment, and those of you on the rewatch, comment as well. Share this amongst some of your other like Schmoedown like after shows. I mean, look, we may not, maybe this is the same old, but we always want to bring a new flavor out here to all of you. While signing off, John, since you will be with us in the foreseeable, since with the future down the road, where can everybody find you other than here on Mount Schmoedown?
Well, of course, everybody can follow me on Movie Lovers Unite. Another thing, too, is you guys can also go on ahead tonight at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time. I'm actually going to be doing a live show on my channel at Movie Lovers Unite. Over there, we're going to be talking about what it's like to date someone that's actually creative and how to handle somebody that's actually creative. Go on ahead and give us a like, give us a share. Also, too, go on ahead, if you want to go to www.movieloversunite.com for all your entertainment needs and wants. Go on ahead, go there. Also, too, go on ahead and do this though too. You can follow me on Stereo at Movie Lovers Unit, and then of course you can follow me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit over there. You can also email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com, and you can also follow me on Pinterest underneath the same name at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite, and also too on Instagram as well. And those are all the places that you can actually reach me at.
All right, Ben Rayner, my co-host. Other than Mount Schmoedown, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at my Twitter at BenRainer2. You can find me at my other YouTube channel, the Media Swedish Network. We have a show every Tuesday. Me and my friend Matt, we're gonna cast and then shoot the shit for an hour. Every Friday, we camping the past and we go back and watch some of our favorite shows. Every Saturday on our flagship show, Get Swinny, where we count down our top 5 favorite moments. Well, top 5 favorite things from one topic. And you can find me on my show every Sunday, Ben's Hot Takes, where I just go over movie news every week. And what about you, Ryan? Where can everyone find you?
Well, other than here on Saturdays at Schmoes for Alamo Schmoedown at Schmoes in the North, you guys can find me on my wrestling podcast. I co-host with James Shimo, and if some of you in the Schmoedown are wondering why does that name sound familiar, it's because he is one of the few people that got selected to be a part of the First Class League. He has not gotten a chance to play yet, but if you have followed the First Class League's Twitter, you will see his photo there and that he is officially a part of its roster. We do a wrestling podcast together called Wrestling, Ramblings, and Rages Podcast. We go over wrestling news. We also review the wrestling content that has been given to us daily through the pro wrestling companies like WWE, AEW, Impact, and the NWA, along with pay-per-view watch-alongs and reviews as well. And going forward, if people also want to check me out later this Saturday, which will be later on, but on Saturday tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern, I'm actually going to be doing a fun movie trivia exhibition with a friend of mine, Garth McMurray, on a YouTube channel on the Rob Fishbeck YouTube channel. It's just a one-off trivia exhibition match that we're just going to have ourselves a bit of fun shooting the shit, answering movie trivia questions, and then we're going to walk off as if we just had ourselves a fun night at the bar. But you guys check it out. The YouTube channel is called Rob Fishbeck. It's going to happen later at 7 p.m. But for those catching the rewatch, you can just go to the YouTube channel, Rob Fishbeck, and check it out. But for signing off, this has been John, Ben, and I'm Ryan. Have yourself a great day. And if you don't know, now you know. Now you know.